Hello and welcome back. I am your host Harshit Sinha with an interesting topic related to BRSR reporting is SEBI's ERP, that is ESG Rating Provider, and today presentation is largely focused on it. For the balanced framework for ESG disclosure and rating, the SEBI have very recent initiative with the introducing the Master Circular for ESG Rating Provider issued by SEBI on May 16, 2024, Consolidated Guidelines and Regulatory Framework for ERP operating in India. It aims to ensure transparency, consistency, and reliability in ESG rating, facilitating information, investment decision, and promoting sustainable business practice. The circular outlines requirements for registration, governance, operational conduct, and disclosure standards that ERP must adhere to it. This initiative reflects SEBI's commitment to integrating ESG factor into the financial ecosystem, enhancing the credibility of and utility of the ESG rating for stakeholders. This circular is issued in exercise of the power conferred by the Section 11(1) of Security and Exchange Board of India in 1992, read with the provision of Regulation of 28H of CRA, Credit Rating Agency Regulation, to promote the development of and to regulate the securities market. The Master Circular provides a comprehensive regulatory framework for ESG rating providers operating in Indian securities market. By establishing clear guidance for the registration, operation, and oversight of ERPs, the SEBI aims to enhance the quality, reliability, and transparency of ESG ratings. This in turn will support the growth of sustainable finance in India and provide investors with valuable information for making informed investment decisions. ERPs are expected to comply with all provisions of this circular and subsequent amendment for clarification issued by the SEBI. The regulator will continue to monitor development in ESG rating industry and may revise these regulations as needed to address emerging challenges and opportunities in rapidly evolving field. The Master Circular has balanced framework for ESG rating provider that have been divided into 5 parts, as Part 1 deals registration, approval and surrender requirement, Part 2 deals rating operation, Part 3 deals with the reporting and discussion, Part 4 internal audit for ERP, and the last part deals with the additional requirement in matter of ESG disclosure, rating and investing. Now let us discuss each part in detail. Now here we discuss the registration mechanism for ESG rating provider. The first is related to registration mechanism for ESG rating providers. It involves registration through a web link provided by the SEBI that manages application for registration, proceedings, surrenders, periodic report and other requests. The documentation submission stress both soft copies and physical hard copy as an interim manual process are required for submission. The fees and other charges payable to the SEBIs are subject to an 18% GST and subsequent changes. Part 2 is related with approval of changes in control. It says that the registered ERP must contain SEBI's prior approval for any change in control under the regulation of 28H of Credit Rating Agency. The application for change in control could be done by submitting the change through the web link and also submitting a hard copy. It is apparent that along with the application, details of current and the proposed shareholding pattern, details of any previous registration attempts with SEBI, action taken under the regulatory framework pending investors' complaints, litigation details, etc. should be submitted. Further, the prior approval granted by SEBI is valid for only 6 months, during which the applicant must file for fresh registration. Besides, for change involving National Company Law Tribunal, that is NCLT approval, SEBI's in principle approval is required before filing the NCLT. This approval is valid for 3 months and the final SEBI approval is needed within 15 days of NCLT orders. The third is related to transfer of business. It says when transferring business, the transferee must obtain a fresh registration followed up by prior approval, and fresh registration are required for change in control, and in case if the transfer of cease to exist, its certificate of registration must be surrendered. The fourth is related to the suspension, cancellation and surrender of registration. Upon cancellation, suspension or surrender, ERP must ensure an orderly migration of rating to another SEBI registered ERP with the disclosure requirement, formalities to be done while post surrender requirement, details of suspension period. Besides, validity of ratings, ESG rating assigned by suspended or surrendered ERP are valid until the client withdraw or migrates the assignment, and for doing voluntary surrender, ERP must transfer existing business to another SEBI registered intermediary, maintaining a record for 3 years and ensure confidentiality of clients' data. This slide discusses the rating operation. First is the type of rating. The slide outlines the regulation for environmental, social and governance rating providers in India. The key point includes ERP must offer at least 6 ESG rating products, that is ESG rating transition or Parivartan score, combined score and their core variant based on the third party assured data. Rating must incorporate India's specific ESG aspect and allow cross-sector comparison. The transition or Parivartan score measures a company's progress towards the net zero goal, recognizing India's commitments to emission reduction by 2070. Combined score incorporates both ESG rating and transition rating. Next is core ESG rating is based on the third party assured or audited data with additional commentary or unverified information. Next is ERP can offer additional product if they comply with the relevant regulations. Next is rating should reflect both current ESG performance and transition efforts. And the last is the core rating are offered based on the availability of the business responsibility and sustainability report core for the rated entity. The next is related to rating scale. This documents outline key regulation for ESG rating providers in India. It mandates 0 to 100 rating scale for ESG ratings with 100 as a maximum score. ERP must disclose new rating symbols and definitions on their website for existing rating. Clear nomenclature is required to differentiate the various ESG rating products. Next is other activities by ESG rating providers. ERP can undertake ESG rating required by other financial sector regulators and conduct related research activity. They must maintain client group level segregation, offering either ESG rating green depth certification or audit assurance services to a client's group within 1 year cooling period when switching between the categories. Next is related to the business model. Two business models are allowed: subscriber pay and issuer pay. Hybrid models are prohibited to mitigate conflicts of interest. The subscriber pay models derive revenue from the subscribers like banks and insurance company, while the issuer pays model generate revenue from the rated entity through contractual agreement. Next is related to the rating process. ERP must disclose detailed guidelines on their website covering compensation review policies, non-cooperation criteria, gift policies, confidentiality, outsourcing, frequently asked questions and conflicts of interest management. Change to the rating process must be clearly disclosed with the reference to the original provision. ERP must maintain detailed records supporting each ESG rating, including underlying factors, discussion with the issuers, and rationale for difference between the model implied and assigned rating. Record must be kept for specified periods and made available to auditors and regulators. Minutes of meeting with issuers must be recorded, and case discussion by circulation should be avoided unless urgent. Annual review of rating decisions are required. ERP must maintain high ethical standards with potential legal consequences for violation. The next is related to monitoring and review of the rating. ESG rating provider must have system to track material development affecting a company ESG profile. This includes BRSR publication or ESG related controversy or penalties. ERPs must review ESG rating within 10 days of such event to ensure timely and accurately rating. This requirement aims to maintain the relevance and reliability of ESG rating in response to the significant changes. The next is related to the rating rationale. We must justify rationale of it. Rating rationale must provide detailed explanation to help stakeholder understand the assigned rating. The minimum disclosure in rating rationale includes current ESG ratings or score, change from previous evaluation, last review date, key drivers, both qualitative and quantitative data, pillar-wise ESG scores with industries comparison, weight-wise of ESG scores, explanation of rating intent and methodology summary or link. This specific rating sensitivity section is required to explain factors that could trigger rating changes, and sensitivity should be disclosed in quantitative terms where possible and be specific rather than general risk factor. Continuing my discussion on the rating operation with the previous slide, the next point is related to the provision applicable to ERP following an issuer pay business mode. The first is rating agreements, the second is indicative rating, the third is issuer non-cooperation, and the fourth is disclosure requirement with restriction is another part of it. The next is related with the withdrawal of rating. ERP can withdraw ESG rating only in specific cases such as when the rated entity is wound up or merged. Withdrawal policy must be documented and disclosed. For listed entities or securities, ERP must assign a final rating and issue a rationale explaining the reason for withdrawal before doing so. The next point is request by the issuer for reviewer appeal of rating provided by ERP. Cases of request by an issuer for review or appeal of the ESG ratings provided to it or its securities shall be reviewed by a team or a panel that shall consist of majority of members that are different from those involved in the assignment of the earlier ESG rating, and at least 1/3 members are independent. Here independent would means people not having any pecuniary relationship with the ERP or any of its employee. The next point is related to the governance norm of ERP. These norms ensure independence and oversight in the ESG rating process by disallowing MD and CEO in rating determination, including the board composition with independent director. It emphasizes establishment of ESG rating subcommittee and nomination and remuneration committee with rating team reporting to chief rating officer. Besides, CRO, that is Chief Rating Officer, must report to ESG Rating Subcommittee, Independent Director chairing Nomination and Remuneration Committee. The next point is related to the accountability of rating analysis of ERP. It emphasized role and responsibility of ESG rating analyst team of ERP shall be clearly laid out by the ERP. Further, analyst or other member of the ESG rating team shall be responsible for undertaking the ESG rating process and adhering to the timelines as specified by the ERP. The next one is related to dealing conflicts of interest. That is the most important point. In investing and trading activities, to formulate policy and internal codes for dealing with the conflicts of interest, having key restrictions like analysts cannot participate in marketing or fee negotiation with the rated entities. Employees involved in rating process and their dependent cannot own share or rated issuers and promote review of rating when employee join rated entities. While access person, that is key official and analyst, must seek prior approval of trading security of rated companies and disclose holding and transaction. Further, it put restriction on employee about their transaction to report in 7 days with consolidated statement of holding. Besides, rating committee members must declare any interest in securities being rated, and employees involved in the rating process are prohibited from owning securities of rated issuers. The last one is related to the guiding lines on listed securities instruments, products falling under the purview of the financial sector, regulators or the authorities. Certain instrument, products, securities are regulated by the financial sector, regulators or authorities, and could be the listed or unlisted. The issuer of such instrument or product or security and any person connected therewith shall abide by the rules and regulation, direction, guidelines as applicable to or governing such instrument, product, securities as prescribed by such financial sector, regulator or authority, whether such instrument or a product or security be listed or unlisted. Further, if such instrument, products, securities are listed on recognized stock exchange or provided to or availed by the regulatory entities or intermediate within the Indian security markets, the rules and regulation, direction, guidelines specified by the SEBI from time to time shall be applicable. Here in this slide, we will discuss about the reporting and disclosure. There are two types of disclosure. The first is a periodic disclosure. That it includes the website disclosure, that is all ERP must disclose all stipulated information on their website. The second is the annual disclosure. That is to be done within 30 days of financial year end about the rating summary sheet, details of new ESG rating, movement of ESG rating for the outstanding listed entities and securities, or history of ESG rating for outstanding listed entities and securities. The next point is related with the average rating rates, that includes publishes 1 year rating transaction rate over 3 year periods, use weighted average method for calculation, and provide additional transaction matrices for listed entities or securities. The next point is income disclosure. General nature of compensation arrangement with the issuers and total receipt of the ESG and non-ESG rating services. It also includes issuer-wise percentage share of non-ESG rating income and name of the issuer contributing 10% or more to the total revenue. The next point of reporting and disclosure is related with the continuous disclosure. Again, it is been disclosed on the website as stipulated information must be maintained on ERP website all the time. It is a must requirement for this continuous rating. It should also include the rating history, rationale, and reports including withdraw rating must be available at the website. The second is related with the delay in the periodic review. It includes ERP must promptly disclose details of rating where review is overdue, including reason for delay. The next is related to the conflict of interest guidelines. Here the policies for dealing with the conflict of interest in investment or trading by ERP, access persons and employees must be disclosed. Next is related to the shareholding pattern, that includes ERP must disclose their shareholding pattern as a prescribed for listed company. And the last is compliance of IOSCO recommendations. ERP discloses compliance status as IOSCO recommendation for ESG rating product provides. IOC good practices for ESG rating providers and rationale by non-compliance must be disclosed. Here, the third one is related to the special guideline for website disclosure. Either you are doing by periodic disclosure or continuous disclosure you are putting on the website. So what are the special guidelines? The first is related to the format. Disclosure should be in Excel or machine readable format for enhanced transparency and usability. The next is archive. ERP must maintain an archive for all disclosure including rating rationale for at least 10 years on their website. Footnotes. ERP may add explanatory footnote to mandate disclosure to improve stakeholder understanding provided they align with the SEBI's regulation and circulars. Now this slide deals part 4 about internal audit or ERP. In internal audit, the audit envisaged under Regulation 22 of CRA regulation shall include an internal audit to be undertaken or shall be conducted yearly basis with the authorized and approved professionals like chartered accountant, company secretariat and or cost and management account who are in practice and who do not have any conflict of interest with the ERP. Further, it shall cover all aspects of ERP and procedure including investors, grievance redressal mechanism, compliance with the requirement stipulated in SEBI's Act rules and regulation. Besides, the report shall state the methodology adopted, deficiency observed and consideration of response of management on the deficiency. It should also include summary operations and of the audit covering the size of operation, number of transactions audited and the number of instances where violation or deviation were observed while making observation on the compliance or any regulatory requirement. It is required for having comment on the adequacy of a system adopted by ERP for compliance with the requirements of regulation and guidelines issued by SEBI's and investors grievance redressal cell. The second part is the requirement for the internal audit. What are the requirements for the internal audit? The documents outlined required for the internal audit for ESG rating is auditor eligibility. We have to check the auditor eligibility, that is minimum 3 years of experience in finance sector, no employment with other ERPs in the past 2 years, no association with the other ERPs, and team must include chartered accountant and certified information system auditor. The next is related to auditor rotation. A maximum term of 5 years within 2 years cooling off period is required as an auditor rotation. Audit scope. What are the audit scope? The compliance with the CRA, credit rating agency regulation and circulars, net worth requirements, adherence to the process and policies, review of rating and disclosures, conflict of interest check, and transition rate calculation methodology. The next is related to reporting and action. Audit report due within 2 months of year end. Compliance officer to provide comments on observation. Board review of report and comments. And finally, final action taken report submitted by the SEBI within the specified time. The last point is related to the additional reporting that contains the ERP must report corporate restructuring, change in directors and shareholding changes. The last part of ESG rating providers is related to what other miscellaneous requirements are there. The first is related to the designated official email that should be used. That is, one designated email with the name of the concerned person should be used by an entity. The second is related to the information regarding the grievance redressal mechanism, that is the rating agency address, phone number, email, etc. should be provided. Designated name of SEBI grievance cell office and email mobile that should be registered at the SEBI. The third point is guideline of outsourcing activities by ERPs. Principle of outsourcing and only part of activity, not the core activity, should be outsourced. The second point is one or more than one third party either within the or outside the group and complaint should be undertaken. Continuing from my previous slide, the other miscellaneous requirement is related to general guidelines for dealing with the conflicts of interest of ERP and their association person in security market. Regulatory framework. ERP are governed by CRA regulation and SEBI circulars, and new guideline aligned to the IOSCO Principle 8. The key requirement related to develop and implement policy and the procedure to identify, avoid or manage conflict, maintain high integrity standard, ensure fair treatment of clients, prioritize client and make appropriate disclosure of the potential conflict. The next is related to implementation. The ERP board responsible for implementing guidelines provide guidance on identifying and managing conflicts and conducts periodic review of compliance. The next is about the scope. The guidelines apply to ERPs and associated person are defined in SEBI's regulation and supplement existing regulation and circular on the conflict of interest. The next point is related to the standardization of industry classification and applicable to ERP. The Market Data Advisory Committee, that is MDACA, a standing committee constituted by SEBI comprising of representatives from the stock exchange, depositors and other market participation, examine the existing industry classification structure across sector and develop a harmonized 4-level industry classification framework for adoption by all stakeholders and for all relevant process or purposes in Indian security market. The other point is, as the standardized framework will help bring about uniformity in the classification being used across the sector and in the securities market, ERP are advised to use the standardized industry classification published by the stock exchange for the purpose of rating exercise, peer benchmarking, research activities, including research for economic industries and companies, etc. Further, as standardization industry classification will be reviewed and published by the stock exchange on a periodical basis, in a view of the same, the ERP are directed to follow the standardized industry classification published by the stock exchange from time to time or as it is being revised. The last point is very important, is the firewall between ERPs and their affiliates. This regulation mandates a measure to strengthen the firewall between the SEBI registered environmental rating providers and their non-ERP affiliates. ERP must formulate and document a board-approved policy on separation practice covering infrastructure sharing, employee allocation, and information handling. The next point is the policy should ensure the independence of ESG rating process and provide guidance on mitigating conflicts of interest. The next point is ERP are requested to disclose common leadership with non-ERP entities on their website, updating their information monthly. And the last is additional ERP and their affiliates must maintain separate website through ERP may include hyperlink to non-ERP entities sites. This is the most important point. So far we have discussed all points related to ESG rating providers. Now we shall discuss what is the future of BRSR and ERPs. The future of business responsibility and sustainable reporting, that is BRSR and ESG reporting providers, is set to be significantly influenced by evolving regulation, increased investor demand, and emerging sustainability trends. As a regulator framework becomes more stringent and comprehensive, companies are compelled to enhance their transparency and accountability regarding their environmental, social, and governance practice. The first point is related to the evolving regulation. In 2024, several key regulatory changes are expected to shape the landscape of ESG reporting. Notably, the European Union Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, that is CSRD, will expand its scope to include more companies and enforce strict reporting requirements on their sustainability impact. So do as SEBI also does this by giving directive aim to provide more detailed and comparable ESG data, enhancing the overall transparency and accountability of the corporate sustainability efforts. The second point is related to the increased investor demand. Investor demand for ESG information continue to grow, driving companies to prioritize sustainability in their strategic planning. Investors are increasingly scrutinizing companies' ESG performance as a part of their decision-making process. This heightened demand is reflected in the proliferation of ESG-related funds and growing influence of ESG rating on investment flows. Companies are thus incentivized to improve their ESG disclosure to attract and retain investment. The third is related to emerging sustainability trend. Several emerging trends are set up to shape the future of ESG reporting. One significant trend is focus on the supply chain transparency. Companies are being urged to ensure that their entire supply chain adhere to ESG standard driven by both regulatory pressure and investor expectation. This is particularly critical for industries with a complex global supply chain where issues such as the carbon footprint, fair labor practice, and ethical sourcing are under intense. Another trend is growing emphasis on the nature of positive strategy and the integration of the nature-related data into corporate reporting. With new regulation requiring disclosure of impacts on nature, companies are being set to nature-related target and adopt new technologies to monitor and report on the biodiversity impact. Overall, the future of BRSR and ESG reporting provider is characterized by the dynamic interplay of regulatory advancement, investor expectation, and technological innovations. As regulatory framework become more robust and investor scrutiny intensifies, companies are compelled to evaluate their ESG practice and reporting. The integration of cutting-edge technologies and focus on the comprehensive supply chain transparency are poised to further enhance the effectiveness and credibility of ESG reporting. This evolving landscape underscores the importance of proactive and transparent sustainability practice for companies aiming to thrive in increasingly ESG conscious market. Now, this is a very special slide that discusses the role of technology in BRSR and ERP reporting. Yeah, technology plays an important role. The integration of technology in business responsibility and sustainability reporting, BRSR, and ESG reporting has revolutionized how companies collect, manage, and report their sustainability data. Advanced technologies such as data management system, cloud-based solution, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and blockchain technology are playing a pivotal role in enhancing the accuracy, efficiency, and transparency of ESG reporting. We shall discuss one by one each of these. First is data management. Effective data management is a fundamental to ESG reporting. Advanced data management system allow companies to collect vast amounts of data from various sources and integrate into a coherent framework for analysis. These systems facilitate the aggregation, storage, and processing of ESG related data, ensuring that the companies can accurately monitor their environmental, social, and governance impact. Enhanced data management capability support better decision making and more robust sustainability reporting. The second is related to cloud-based solution. Cloud-based solutions have significantly improved the scalability and accessibility of ESG reporting system. By leveraging and cloud technology, companies can store and process large data sets without the limitation of on-premises infrastructure. This flexibility allows for real-time data update and seamless collaboration across different departments and geographic location. Cloud platform also offer enhanced security features to protect sensitive ESG data, ensuring compliance with regulatory requirement and industry standard. Next is related to AI and machine level learning. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are transform ESG reporting by automating data collection and analysis process. These technology can analyze vast amount of unstructured data, identify pattern, and generate insight that would be impossible for human to achieve manually. AI-driven analytics can predict future trends, assess risk, and identify opportunities for sustainability improvement. Machine learning algorithms can continuously learn and adapt, improving the accuracy and relevance of ESG report over time. The last is related to blockchain technology. The blockchain technology offers a new level of transparency and trust in ESG reporting by creating immediate record of transaction and data entries. Blockchain ensures the integrity and traceability of the ESG data. This is particularly valuable for verifying the authenticity of the sustainability claim and tracking the provenance of material and product in supply chain. Blockchain can also facilitate more efficient and secure data sharing between companies, auditors, and regulatory bodies, enhancing overall credibility of ESG report. Summing up, the role of technology in BRSR and ERP is indispensable. Advanced data management system, cloud-based system, AI and machine learning, and blockchain technology collectively enhance the reliability, efficiency, and transparency of ESG reporting. These technologies enable companies to meet increasingly regulatory demand and investor expectation while driving their sustainability agendas forward. As technology continues to evolve, its integration into ESG reporting processes will undoubtedly become more sophisticated, paving the way for more comprehensive and credible sustainability disclosures. Now, since we have seen business responsibility reporting and business responsible, sustainable reporting, their framework, and the guidelines for BRSR, ESG Rating Providers. The question arises the future scope of professionals among these group. Well, I tell you very frankly, it is well defined. If we talk about the scope, there are 4 types of work could be done under this heading for BRSR reporting and ESG rating provider. What is the real scope can be defined in the 4 major groups which are here. The first is the capacity building process. Here, an individual or a group of individuals making an organization will help an entity or a company that is processing house how to write BRSR reporting and what are the needs to cover under BRSR reporting so that accordingly the activity is being done. The second is a rating agency. You could be a rating agency provided that you have a group of professionals in your rating agency and you have a sufficient experience of doing rating, similar type of rating for the other fields. Like SEBI has recently recognized CRISIL, ICRA, CARE, SMERA, etc. and others. These organizations have been approved under certain guidelines which I have explained you that they qualify each and everything, and that is why they have been awarded as a rating agency for evaluating BRSR and as an ESG rating provider. The third is a research agency, that is the agency which keeps record data of investment, environment data, social data and governance data of various entity or companies, right? They maintain their database and show the future prediction that these things going to be happen in environment, social, the market trend, the future trend, etc. The fourth one is the auditor or assessor approved by the regulatory body. So whatever you are filling in the BRSR report format or whatever guidelines you are following as a ESG rating provider, these assessor and auditor will check your greenwashing. What is that? Greenwashing is an aggregated figure the company writes in the BRSR and many other things. To cross check all these things, the auditor and the role of auditor and assessor is very essential, and that too is been provided by the regulatory bodies, SEBI, BSI or MCA, etc. Now, which type of professionals are involved? If we look carefully, all certified and authorized professionals are required. Certified training centers at national and international where you do the course and become a certified professionals. Now, all type of process engineer and sub-process experts related to environment, energy, waste management. In any entity or a company, there would be a process engineer or group of process engineer where they run the process to produce the material, in which how much the carbon is emitted and how much the water is consumed, that they know. Now an external expert who is approved professional of BRSR from various regulatory bodies will come and will teach the professional engineer how to reduce carbon footprint and water footprint. So there is one good scope for these people over here, environmental engineers. The second is social expert for doing assessment of internal and external element. So far, no certified body in India has come up with such type of course, though MCA is planning and many other bodies are also planning to get a certified social auditor. This is one of the most important part of the ESG evaluation, ESG reporting evaluation. The next part is the financial management expert. This is very crucial, as mentioned in the ESG rating provider guideline, that they have a very specific role in identifying, grouping the data and later validating the data, right? So these people are very essential whether the process of finance has been adopted or not. Like that, the management people would be more interested in doing the analysis of the governance decision taken by a entity. Then comes the logistic and fleet management expert. This is one of the most important part of ESG rating provider, as well as it is the most important part of BRSR reporting format, because green logistics play a vital role in today's context. Now comes electronic data processing, which I have discussed you in my previous slide, the importance of electronic data, how to store, how to process, how fast it can be processed, machine by machine level language, etc. So this is also one of the important form. And last but not the least is a knowledge bank and the trainer like me, who do a lot of things, R&D, to train people to clear the vision what the regulatory bodies of India have set up, and to execute in the market, become a professional. So here it is very clearly defined the scope and about the professional involved. Now I have two pictures. One is very confident wearing coat, and he knows what will happen after going all these 3 to 4 set of presentation on BRSR reporting as well as ESG reporting rating provider. There is two groups. One, a professional who definitely decide, well-behaved professional, highly qualified professional who knows what to do and where to do. The second one is a confused professional. He has a degree, he has all authorized credentials, but he doesn't know what to do, where to do. So you have to decide whatever role you have to play. You have to do a lot of things as mentioned in this figure and become a ESG professional. Now today we have come to the end of this presentation, and I want to recollect for the viewers that we have covered crucial aspects for ESG rating providers, including their registration, approval and surrender requirements. We then delved into rating operations, reporting and disclosure obligation. We also explored internal audit procedure for ERP and discussed additional requirements concerning ERP disclosure, rating and investing. Now we have gathered this comprehensive information. You might wonder what's next. This is where investors comes into picture. I encourage you all to stay tuned for the upcoming topic on investment in ESG. This discussion will broaden your perspective on conducting business through the country's stock exchange, offering valuable insight into the practical application of ESG principle in investment strategy. Until then, I wish you good health and safety. We look forward to continue this informative journey with you, exploring how ESG factors are reshaping the investment landscape, influencing business practice within the country and abroad. Till then, bye-bye.